Yo, we got the car in a rack. Hugo's here. Anthony should be here shortly. We're waiting on him to see if he can get his car started. We're gonna be doing a few things to it. I already started draining the oil. I'm sorry for jumping ahead. But some of the obvious things on this car that we noticed right away is that the play that was in this bushing that used to be there is gone, the lollipop bushing. We ended up getting a hold of some of the older Condor speed shop bushings that I had laying around. Only problem is these are round, arms are hexed. We're gonna try to figure out a way to get around all that. I don't know if it's cut the arm round or heat up the arm and press it into here and hopefully it melts the shape into there. We don't know yet. Motorsports Fluid set us up with all the fluids for the car. We got the gear oil, the diff oil, and then a buttload of freaking engine oil. And then also they sent us some new hardware, and you can't really see it, but there's studs in there and lug nuts in there. So this thing's all set up. So we're gonna be installing kind of all this stuff, changing the fluids. And then I think we're gonna be cutting off this muffler because one of the freaking things that I hate is a car you can't feel and a car you can't hear. And this thing has both of those. Suspension's too soft and the exhaust is too quiet. I hate it. Cut to the intro.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
And now we're back from the intro. All right, so some of the things again real quick. Rust. Hugo, actually in his brilliant observation, kind of realized that this car is a car from Pennsylvania, and it's because there's some stickers that are on the window. There's so much rust on like the subframe. It doesn't look like there's much on the chassis portion of things, but you can see the subframe here just flaking off layers of material. So I'm not sure what the deal is with this subframe, but we're probably gonna end up dropping it out and swapping some stuff around, maybe cleaning up this diff or just getting a new diff. The axles seem fine. I've never seen this bolt pattern before. Look at this bolt pattern on the axle. I've never seen that before. They're usually evenly gapped. So we're gonna cut the muffler off tonight. We're gonna change all the oils on it, trans, engine, and diff. And then we're gonna be installing those bushings to get this thing to feel a lot better. Condor bushings. And that's pretty much what we found on this car so far. All in all, $500, you can't really complain. I do just wish it was a little bit cleaner under here, but that's all right. We're gonna get her all nice and done up. The engine mounts and trans mounts are really soft. Everything kind of flexes pretty easy. And then we gotta do something about that rear subframe because that's just too much. Too much rust for my liking. I don't know if there's an amount of rust that I like, but that's definitely not it. Also, other things is this whole side of the car here is Bondoed. You can see kind of some hairline cracks in it where I punched it earlier, and it's got a bunch of Bondo. This whole side of the car has been resprayed. So it's kind of weird. We're not worried about all that because we're gonna be cutting it all up anyways and getting it all set up sick. It's a clean title, so we're gonna get into it. Let's finish this oils and move on to the bushings. All right, boys and girls. Best 5 tools you've got. Or the best 5 tools are these. Don't lose them. And your face. Riot shield, bro. I feel like Modern Warfare 2 right now, Terminal. Alright, so I've opted out. Instead of trying to cut these into a new shape, I'm just gonna grind the arm down to fit in this shape. And then when I go and get my SLR angle kit for this car, I'll just buy new bushings from Condor, no big deal. So I'm gonna shave the arm down. This is obviously not the right way to do it, so spare me the comments. Which most of you guys are actually pretty cool. No one really comments stupid stuff, surprisingly. So I'm gonna start shaving these down. Anthony's here now. Flip the camera around, show your beautiful mug. No. Anthony's behind the camera. So we're gonna start thinking about getting into the diffs now because he's the welder for the job. And his car's here also now. The big green machine. That fat freaking 4-door. Let's get into it. I'm gonna do this. Anthony's gonna see if he can drop the rear cover on the diff, and we'll see how it goes. Let's get to it.
A few moments later.
So always remember that it's a lot easier to take material off than it is to put material on, which means that don't go too far when you're grinding these things down, because if you get to a point where you're too small now, good freaking luck to swap the whole arm out. So I try to take it easy. This actually the first test fit right here on this side. So now the lollipop bushings are in. That's going to drastically change the front feeling of this car, because what it was doing is when you hit the brakes, the whole steering wheel would like shimmy and you'd hear everything clunk, and if you actually got out and put your foot into the side of the wheel, the whole wheel would shift in the wheel well. So much so that you could actually see where the wheel was walking back and rubbing. So you want to make sure that lollipop bushings are nice and stout. Condor definitely makes they make the best bushing on the market. I think you run them, right? And Hugo runs them too. So they also sell like a smaller version, which you put on the race car because of the V8 headers. They sell a lower profile version of this whole thing here, so it bolts on exactly the same. They cut it in hex for the E46 arms, and they cut it in a round setup for the SLR kit also. My car has the SLR kit, so I have the round bushings in the E46. I believe they call them treehouse brackets or something like that, but they have them, and whatever you need, you just got to ask them for what you want. It applies to whatever you have on your car. If you got 46, ask for those. They're a lot slimmer, so when you start lowering your car. Or my main thing was the V8 and the header clearance, because the headers are really close to these factory ones, and so when you put on the treetop or the treehouse ones, it slims it down probably by like a ½ inch all the way around, if not more. I'm not too sure exactly measurement, but I know it's a lot. Front bushings are in, trans oil's in, Anthony's cutting off the muffler, and I gotta put engine oil in it. Just keep going. So I was gonna come film us popping the diff cover off for the first time, and then as I walked that way and all of us were at the table, the diff cover fell off. So we did not film that, but we got the diff. We're gonna do this like the super freaking laziest possible way you can do this. We're not even gonna pull the diff out of the car. We're gonna weld it just like that. And because it's a street car, we're not doing anything like super gnarly. We're not even gonna spend too much time on this. We're gonna tack each corner and then throw beads and kind of melt it all together, and do that on both sides, and it'll be fine. I remember back in the day we did a plate on one side, welded in, and the other side we just tacked the 4 corners, and that was enough. But the amount of horsepower and tension that's actually gonna be on this, it really doesn't matter. We should be able to weld all 4 corners without preheating or doing anything fancy like that, and just be absolutely fine. Alright, so the diff's in, welded, fluids in it, transes, oils changed. I'm doing the engine right now. Motorsports hardware is on. The back only has 4 on each side because I'm still adjusting the handbrake. Once the handbrake's adjusted, I'll throw it all back together. And then as soon as this thing's ready, we'll be able to go drive it after the handbrake's done. That's pretty much it. Anthony and Hugo already welded Hugo's diff, and then we have to do Anthony's diff, and then that's pretty much it. My car took the longest because I'm trying to do so much stuff to it because of it seeming like it's been neglected for some time. Trying to just run through it, make sure all the fluids are good, make sure everything's at the right levels, and that we got fresh fluid in it. So that's what we're doing. Throwing the 5W 40 Revna in it from Motorsports Fluid. They're taking care of us, sent us a box of this stuff. So. Yeah, buddy. So it's getting closer. Now the diff is welded. Motorsports hardware is on. All the fluids are changed in the car. Everything's working fine. I didn't shoot actually that we put in casino steering wheel, a hold fast casino steering wheel. We did that, and then our buddy Chris Miller over at NRG hooked us up with a quick release and a hub. And then this is the passenger seat from the race car. I still have a lot of stuff I want to do this thing, obviously. This is just the beginning. This is just kind of getting it figured out, getting it a little bit dialed in before we start throwing more parts at it. But we're gonna be doing tail lights, back bumper, front bumper, over fenders, coilovers, slam it on the floor, wheels and tires, and tint. We're gonna murder this thing out so you can't even see into the car. Be pretty rad just to have a street car that's done like that. New headlight lenses, clears, obviously the M3 front bumper, and then last but not least, we're gonna end up doing paint. I wanna do black because I wanted to do black on my race car, but I just like white so much that I chose to do white instead of black, but all my buddies have black BMWs, and I think that we can all get them painted probably together. Wherever Anthony is, he disappeared. Hugo wants to paint his. I want to get mine resprayed. Anthony already has a black E30. Frankie has a black E90. So, and then Dario has a black 4-door. Pretty much everybody, Clint has a black 4-door. So everybody has a black car, so we kind of want to get everybody's cars looking similar and clean. They already welded Hugo's diff. Hugo's diff is done on the E46. So this car, because I don't think I ever got around to telling you guys, but I actually bought this car from my buddy Eric. I had helped him build it like for some time, doing body, suspension, things like that. And I actually bought it off of him because he needed money, and I was gonna take it and build it and raffle it. But then Franklin decided to burn down Hugo's car, and Hugo needed a ride. So I sold it to Hugo, and Hugo fixed it in like a couple hours and got it all dialed in. And now he's got a welded diff, so this is gonna be his drift car. We never know what the future holds for the Missile Mary. Maybe it becomes a raffle car one day. Maybe it goes up for sale one day. Who knows? For now, it's my daily, but it's not even close to anywhere it's gonna be. And that's kind of one of the things I wanna say is that the Hail Mary was probably, I don't know. Do you think the Hail Mary was in worse condition than this car or no? Chassis-wise it was, because things were bent. It had gotten in a car accident. The rear subframe mount had ripped out of the chassis.
No. I feel like this car just got beat up pretty bad in a different way.
I think this car just got like abandoned, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it did get abandoned.
Well,
with the window down.
I mean,
why are you hating though? That's legit, bro. Lose your key and then unlock the door in your car. Yeah. You're welcome.
you did. Had to figure it out.
Whatever, dude. It's not the point. I think this car is from PA. I don't know if you can see it. PA, Pennsylvania, so it's got a lot of rusty issues. But maybe we're going to probably do the subframe. I think Anthony's picking up a parts car here soon. We might pull the subframe from him and weld that diff in that car.
My ratchet's in my car.
Oh, way to go, guy.
And the battery needs to be unplugged.
Yep. Anyways, on that note, we got a lot of stuff to do, and it's like 11 o'clock already, and we're not even done. So, going back to it. Thank you guys for watching. As always, stay safe out there. See you soon.